There are some things that are not spoken about when it comes to private practice. And I know when we talk about private practice, it can sound very enticing. It can make you feel like, yeah, this is definitely the thing. It's heaven. I need to get there. But let me be the one to tell you that there are some things that are rarely spoken about, and those are the things I will be addressing in this video. I'm going to start with the good stuff, then I'm going to finish with the bad stuff about being in private practice. And so stick with me till the end. And if you are already in private practice, you can tell me if these are some things that you agree with, and if you have experienced them. Let me start with the pros, and I have my notebook here so that I don't leave out anything. I want you to have the truth and nothing but the truth. As you can imagine, the most beneficial thing about being in private practice is flexibility. When you're in private practice, you can do whatever you want. If you wake up at 9 a.m. and you decide to go back to bed and wake up at midday so that you can start your work, nobody will tell you anything. You're the one who decides what time you work. You're the one who sets your hours. You're the one who decides how long you work. Maybe you have an event in the afternoon. You can just leave. You can lock up your door and go. It's not the same like when you're employed, where you have to go and fill out a leave form. You have to find somebody to cover your schedule, to talk to your clients when you're not there, if that is the setup you're in. Like, there's a lot of bureaucracy when it comes to working in other places that you don't own. So being a private practice owner, flexibility is everything. You will enjoy yourself to the fullest. If you decide to go to Mombasa for a week, nobody can tell you anything. And it's very, very addictive. That flexibility is very addictive. When you get used to it, you're like, wah, siwezi imagine nikirudi nini employment. That is the most enticing thing about private practice. And trust me, it is really good. The next thing that is a pro of being in private practice is that you have freedom of choice. So beyond even flexibility, there's a freedom of choice in the sense that you can choose who to work with. So the type of clients that you work with, you can choose how many hours to work in a day. You can choose the location you want to open your private practice. You can choose which kind of mental health issues you want to treat. You can choose the age groups of people you want to work with. Nobody can decide for you. At now, because you are working here, you have to work with teenagers and you have to be dealing with X, Y, and Z kind of problem. Nobody can tell you that. It's your business. You can decide that you're going to work with teenagers and you're going to be dealing with, let's say, depression among teenagers. And that is the only clientele that you're going to be working with. And nobody can tell you anything. And the other bit on the freedom of choice is that you can decide if at some point you decide to pivot and make your business a group practice. You can decide which kind of mental health professionals to work with. You're the one, because you're the one who's going to be hiring, or you're going to hire somebody to do the hiring for you. At the end of the day, you get to decide who comes into your company and who does not come in. When you're in private practice, there is something about time wastage. So the beauty of being in private practice is that you can find time wastage is reduced in the sense that if you have a client and they cancel at the last minute, you're not going to sit there wondering, what do I do next? Because you're the business owner, you can go and do other things. You can go and focus on marketing your product. You can go and write blog posts. You can go and create social media content. There's always something to do in your business. So even when a client cancels or if they are late, you don't feel like you're wasting time. If you're in a situation where you're not in a decision-making position and your work is only being a therapist, when a client cancels, you always feel like your time has been wasted. And so being the boss of you, you get to do other things. You can use your time wisely. You can plan your time and decide what to do between sessions. You're the one to decide what to do. Again, the running theme here is flexibility and freedom of choice. You have flexibility on your time. You have freedom over your time. You have freedom over the things that you do. And there's nothing as addictive and as exhilarating as having freedom over your time and the things that you get to do. So yeah, and take this from somebody who has been employed and somebody who has been in private practice. I can tell you, private practice wins hands down when it comes to freedom of choice. So yeah, those are the wonderful things about being in private practice. Oh yeah, there's one more point before I forget. You can decide when you're in private practice and you wake up one morning and you decide you want to take a different direction with your business. Nobody can stop you. You can wake up and decide to change your business model entirely. Maybe your private practice was that you are catering to teenagers who are going through, let's say, depression. You can change and add a different group of clientele into your business. You can decide now you're going to be working with even the parents of the teenagers who are going through depression and start offering those services to parents of teenagers. So nobody can tell you. If you wake up and decide that you want to pivot, you can pivot. And decision making is going to be very fast because you're the one who gets to decide. So that's the beauty of being in private practice. And those are some of the best things about private practice. Now allow me to go to the side, the dark underbelly of being in private practice. And I think it's a very important thing. So the cons of being in private practice. Number one, it is exhausting as hell. Especially if you're doing everything by yourself. Let's say you don't have employees, you don't have people you are outsourcing to. Let's say you don't have somebody running your social media, so you're the one running social media, you're the one doing accounts, you're the one doing hiring. In case you need to hire somebody, you're the one chasing down people for your graphic designer. If you're the one doing the marketing, if you're the one doing everything in your business, it is exhausting. You will be going to bed, sometimes you'll find yourself working so many hours, you'll be like, I was not even working this hard when I was employed. Like, when you're employed, there's that structure of maybe you're supposed to work for 5 days a week, 6 hours a day, 8 hours a day, and your day is over, and weekends will go off. Hey, when you're in private practice, hakuna story kama hiyo. You can get very tired because you have to do everything. Especially if you don't have the budget to hire people, you will get very exhausted, and that is just the reality. But there's no escaping it. Find the people who have been in private practice long enough and people who have been doing everything by themselves, and they will tell you they work hard on a daily basis. You wake up, you're tired, you go to bed, you're tired. And this happens especially if you don't have boundaries and if you don't know what you're chasing. So I keep telling people, go back to your goals for starting a private practice. Why are you doing the things that you're doing? If you don't know why you're doing the things that you're doing, even setting boundaries around those things is going to be very, very difficult. So if you don't want to burn out, if you don't want to hate your private practice, if you don't want to start regretting, consider finding a way to mitigate that drama. Find a way to ensure that you do not overwork. Find a way to make sure that you're not working 80 hours a week. That is not healthy for anyone. Remember, your family needs you. If you have kids, they want to see you. If you have a spouse, that spouse wants to see you. If you have siblings, they want to see you. If you have friends, they want to see you. So you have to decide what is more important to you. And sometimes it's having a bit of both and just knowing where you draw the line between work and play. Because nobody can work constantly without ever taking a break. So yeah, exhausting as hell. Think about it. It's not as glamorous as people make it seem. It's like how ordinarily just people make business seem like the most glamorous thing, being a business person, being an entrepreneur. It's not as glamorous, my friend. On the ground, ukifika kwa ground, things are usually very tough. And that is something that most people don't talk about because you only see the wonderful pictures on the internet about how we are succeeding and how we are doing well and how we have practices that are thriving and you're opening offices left, right, and center and you've opened a new branch. You only see those glamorous things, but you don't know on ground how difficult it is. So be aware that that could be you if you do not have boundaries and if you do not know what you're working towards. If you do not know your goals, if you don't know why you're doing the things you're doing, exhaustion could become your best friend. And that is not a best friend you want to have. As I said in a previous video, you have to develop new skills that you didn't have. And developing those skills takes time. Remember the video I spoke about whether private practice is for you? I mentioned that we are never taught in school how to start a business. And I think that's why a YouTube channel like this one is important, to teach you how to start a business and how to run a business and how to make sure that it doesn't burn down. So nobody teaches you these things and you'll have to develop those skills. The skills of running a business, you'll have to develop many skills that are needed for you to do the work that you're doing. And that takes time. And it can feel like it's not moving as fast as you want it to because now you're in private practice and maybe there's no where you're expecting money at the end of the month. It's just this private practice. It can feel very scary. And so many people get frustrated by how slow the learning process takes because again, learning things takes time and you have to give it time. So you'll have to develop those new skills, and if you don't have them, you might find that your business is suffering and struggling. And I will highly encourage you to take heart and to keep at it because you will only learn as fast as you can. Hakuna shortcuts. This thing does not have shortcuts, by the way. You learn and you learn and you learn until you're good at it. So give yourself the time. And I know that can be demoralizing, but don't let it take away your happy spirit because it's your business now and you're doing a great thing. So think about it that way and yeah, just have that at the back of your mind. Something I want to touch on when it comes to the exhaustion and the overworking and all these things is to remember that mental health professionals are not like other kind of employees, in the sense that we are not built to work the typical 40-hour week where we are constantly seeing clients. And that is a reality that is happening in places where people are employed as mental health professionals. You'll find that you're supposed to see 6 or 7 clients per day and you're supposed to be at work for 5 days a week. think about how many hours those are and how exhausting it can be when you're dealing with very heavy topics with the clients. I remember the thing we said about vicarious trauma. It is a thing, it happens, and it can be very, very exhausting and very damaging to your mental health. So as a mental health professional, you're not going to be working constantly until you have clients back to back so that you can maintain your private practice. You have to find other ways to make money. And that's why, as I was saying about developing skills, you need to develop skills that can help you make money outside of the therapy profession so that you don't burn out by seeing clients back to back. Money is an important thing to talk about. Your income, especially in the beginning, is going to be very inconsistent, it's going to be very unpredictable, and it's going to be very unstable. That is just the reality in the beginning. Just because you've opened your doors and you've said, hi guys, I'm here, I am ready to be a therapist, does not mean now clients are going to be like, oh my gosh, guy, there's a therapist, we need to go there. That's not going to happen. You opening a private practice does not mean the clients will start pouring in. Remember, when you're in private practice, you're the one who is responsible for all the bills. Token in Kisha, you're the one to put tokens there. It's going to take time to build a caseload that is sustainable. You're not going to make 500k in the first month. That is not, unless you're serving clientele beyond one-on-one therapy, unless you're doing other things to make money, unless you're maybe doing corporate gigs and stuff. So in the beginning, money is going to be very inconsistent, and that can be very scary. Remember, when you're employed, at least kuna kuanga na guarantee that at the end of the month you're going to get something. Hata kama ni 20k, hata ni 30k, even if it's 50k. At least you know at the end of the month, liwe liwalo, I have X amount of money in my account from the work that I have done. In private practice, there are no guarantees when it comes to money. Clients can cancel. Clients can drop out of therapy altogether. The client you are relying on can decide they no longer want to work with you and they want to be referred to somebody else. Things can just happen. You can fall sick and you are not in the office, so you're not seeing therapy clients. Things can happen to make sure that you do not make money. Don't see people looking glamorous on the internet and assume that they're making millions in their private practices. That is not how it works. Many people do not talk about their failures, and many people do not talk about the realities of being in private practice and running a business. So, in the beginning, money might be tight. Brace yourself, prepare yourself in advance. If you can save up so that you can cover those tough times that are going to come up, save up. Make sure you have somewhere else that money is coming from. Don't sit and expect that it is all going to come from your clients. In case I have not mentioned, the thing about bills, you are responsible for all the bills, and on top of being responsible for all the bills, remember, all the money that you get from your clients is not going to go to your account. That is something that people keep forgetting. So a therapist may tell you they charge 1,000 a session, and you're thinking, hey, sooner for you're making 1,000 shillings an hour. That 1,000 shilling does not go into your account, all of it. Because you're responsible for all the bills, that money has to be divided up to make sure that the bills are covered. So always remember that at the back of your mind. So with those few points, let me know what you have gained from this video, and you can share it in the comment section. Let's share and learn from each other's wisdom. There's something that I'm thinking of doing, and I don't know if you guys are interested. I want to talk about the reality that we are all going to die, and you need to know what is going to happen to your private practice when you die. And it's not just when you die. If something happens to you that you can no longer run your private practice, do you have somebody who you're going to leave the private practice to? Is your private practice going to be shut? How will your clients know that something has happened to you? I want to explore that topic in the next video, but I'm not sure. So let me know if that is something you're curious about, and I will come back and give you that as a video in the next one. So yeah, thank you so much for hanging out with me till the end. I appreciate your time, and I wish you all the best in your private practice. I hope these points have been useful for you, and they are not scare tactics. They're just things I'm telling you so that you have them at the back of your mind and you realize that business is not a joke, and so that you can also be prepared and find ways to protect yourself against some of these cons in advance, and usijipate kwa situation ngumu. That is how I'm looking at this. Tell me if you like this stuff. Let me know if you're benefiting, and if you are, consider liking, subscribing, sharing this video, commenting something. And something else I would highly encourage is that you join our Telegram channel. In the Telegram channel, I am trying to give you guys a lot of exclusive stuff, a lot of exclusive job opportunities and scholarship opportunities. I am trying to connect you to resources. So if that is something that you want to do, please join the Telegram channel. The link is in the description, and I will see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are, and I will see you next time. Ciao.